I've been medically incapable of fathering a child since 2016. That was the year I had my vasectomy, a decision Lauren and I made together after our son Noah was born. It was supposed to be the end of our worries. No more pills, no more scares, and definitely no more condoms. But on a Tuesday afternoon at exactly 2:47 p.m., my housekeeper Maria handed me a plastic grocery bag that turned my medical history into a joke. Inside were 47 gold-foiled Trojan wrappers, all torn, all empty, all found hidden in the dark, dusty void behind the ruffle of our bed, on my wife's side. The math didn't add up. 47 wrappers, 9 years of marriage, 0 reasons for them to be in our house. Maria didn't say much. Her hands were shaking as she pulled out one more thing from the bottom of that bag. A crumpled receipt from a Hampton Inn, room 314, dated 3 weeks ago. The same weekend Lauren told me she was networking at a marketing summit in Cleveland. I looked at the gold foil reflecting the sterile LED lights of my home office, and for the first time in my life, I felt the air leave my lungs completely. My name is Daniel Harrison. I'm a software engineer. I deal in logic, data, and hard facts. And the facts were telling me that my life was a beautifully constructed lie. If you think you know how this ends, you're wrong. Because those 47 wrappers were just the breadcrumbs. What I found when I started digging into the metadata of our lives didn't just break my heart. It turned me into someone I didn't recognize. Before I show you the digital trail that destroyed everything, hit subscribe. Because once you see the truth, you can never go back to the lie. We lived in a suburb outside of Minneapolis. You know the kind. Tree-lined streets, houses that all look slightly variations of the same modern farmhouse aesthetic, and neighbors who wave but don't know your last name. We had the golden retriever, Biscuit. We had the SUV with the honor student bumper sticker. We were the couple people looked at when they wanted to feel good about the institution of marriage. I work from home 3 days a week. It's a quiet existence. The hum of the refrigerator, the distant sound of the leaf blower next door. Lauren, on the other hand, is the star. A marketing director for a major healthcare firm. She's all sharp blazers and expensive perfume. Speaking of perfume, that night, when she came home from work after Maria had left, she leaned in to kiss me. Usually it's Joe Malone, subtle, classy. But that night, there was a trace of something else. Something heavier, musky. A scent that didn't belong in our bathroom cabinet. I stayed silent. I watched her talk to our daughter Emma about her spelling test, and I felt like I was watching a high-quality deepfake. How does a person look you in the eye and ask what's for dinner when they have 47 secrets hidden under the mattress? I hired Maria 6 months ago because we were drowning. The chaos of 2 full-time jobs and 2 kids had turned our home into a warehouse of unfolded laundry and unwashed dishes. Lauren called Maria a miracle worker. I realize now that Maria wasn't just cleaning our floors. She was uncovering the rot beneath them. Logic is my refuge. When the world stops making sense, I turn to the data. That night, after the house went dark, and the only sound was the rhythmic breathing of a woman I no longer knew, I opened my laptop. I didn't start with anger. I started with a spreadsheet. I logged into our shared Verizon account. I exported the last 6 months of call logs and text metadata for Lauren's line. As a software engineer, I'm used to looking for patterns in large data sets. Anomaly detection. That's what we call it in the industry. The anomaly was a number ending in -4,402. It appeared every single day. 8:15 a.m., right after she dropped the kids at school. 12:30 p.m., lunch break. 5:45 p.m., the commute home. And then the late-night pings. Short bursts of data at 11:30 p.m. while I was supposedly asleep next to her. I ran a reverse lookup. Trevor Mathice, 34 years old, sales manager at MedTech Solutions. Her company. I felt a cold shiver go down my spine. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a synchronized, multi-channel operation. I pulled up our credit card statements. Since I'm an authorized user on her emergency card, I had access. October 14th. The Cleveland trip. Hampton Inn, Minneapolis South. $287.43. Manny's Steakhouse. $156. Total Wine and More. $63.12. She wasn't in Ohio. She was 20 minutes away, drinking expensive Cabernet and eating dry-aged ribeye with a sales manager named Trevor, while I was at home making frozen chicken nuggets for Emma and Noah. I looked at the timestamps. She called me at 9 p.m. that Saturday. The conference is so boring, babe. Miss you guys. Give the kids a kiss for me. She was in room 314 when she said that. The next day I didn't go to work. I drove to the Hampton Inn. It's a generic beige building that smells like industrial carpet cleaner and stale coffee. I stood at the front desk, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. The clerk was a kid, maybe 20, bored, looking at his phone. I slid a $50 bill across the counter. I didn't say a word. I just showed him the receipt Maria found. I just need to know if she was alone, I said. My voice sounded like it was coming from someone else. He didn't even hesitate. The money disappeared. 2 people checked in together. Tall guy, dark hair. They didn't come out for much. Kept the Do Not Disturb sign on the door the entire 48 hours. I walked back to my car and sat there for an hour. The sun was shining. People were going about their lives, buying groceries, picking up dry cleaning. And I was sitting in a parking lot, staring at a corner window on the 3rd floor, imagining the 47 times they had torn open those gold wrappers. I went to a Best Buy and bought a voice-activated recorder. Small, black, the size of a thumb drive. That night, I tucked it under her nightstand, hidden behind a stack of New Yorker magazines she hadn't touched in months. I felt like a criminal in my own bedroom. But then I looked at the bed, the place where we had conceived our children, the place where we whispered our dreams, and I remembered what Maria found under it. I wasn't the criminal. I was the investigator. I waited 48 hours before I retrieved the recorder. I took it to my office, put on my noise-canceling headphones, and pressed play. The first 2 hours were mundane. The rustle of sheets, her humming a song while getting dressed, a call to her mother, and then, at the 3-hour mark, her phone rang. "Hey," she said, her voice. It was a version of her I hadn't heard in years. It was light, flirtatious, high-pitched. "I miss you too," she whispered. "No, Daniel's at the office today. Come over for lunch? I'll get the wine." There was a pause. Then a man's voice, muffled but clear enough. "I'm tired of hiding, Lauren. When are you going to tell him?" "It's complicated, Trevor," she replied. "The house, the kids. He'd fight me for every penny. He's a software guy. He's meticulous. He'd ruin me in court." "But you love me," Trevor said. A long silence followed. I held my breath. I wanted her to say no. I wanted her to laugh it off. "I love you too," she said, quietly, firmly. I took off the headphones. The silence in my office was deafening. She wasn't just having an affair. She was planning a transition. I was a bug in her system that needed to be patched out. I didn't scream. I didn't throw her clothes out the window. I called Richard Cleaney. Richard is a divorce attorney who looks like he's made of granite. I sat in his glass-walled office and laid out my folder. I had it all organized. Tab A, call logs. Tab B, credit card fraud, using marital assets for the affair. Tab C, the Hampton Inn testimony. Tab D, the audio transcripts. And of course the 47 gold wrappers, photographed and cataloged. "You're very thorough, Mr. Harrison," Richard said, flipping through the pages. "I'm a software engineer," I told him. "I don't make emotional decisions. I make informed ones." "In Minnesota, adultery doesn't always guarantee a win," Richard warned. "But the fact that she's using marital funds and lying about her whereabouts while neglecting parental duties, that gives us leverage, especially for the house and the kids." "I want the house," I said, "and I want primary custody. I don't want my children being raised by a man who thinks it's okay to stay in room 314 while their father makes them pancakes." Richard smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "Let's get to work." I had her served at her office. Monday morning, 10:45 a.m. I wanted her colleagues to see. I wanted the marketing director to realize that her brand was officially tarnished. She called me 30 times. I didn't answer. When she burst through the front door at 6 p.m., she was a hurricane. Tears, smeared mascara, the smell of panic. "What is this, Daniel? A divorce? Without even talking to me? Are you insane?" I was sitting at the kitchen table, drinking a cup of coffee. Biscuit was at my feet. The house was spotless. Maria had been there that morning. "We can talk now," I said calmly. "Over what? A rough patch? Every marriage has them." "Is Trevor Mathise a rough patch, Lauren? Or is he the 47 gold wrappers Maria found under the bed?" The blood drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. She tried to speak, but the words died in her throat. "I have the recordings," I continued. "I have the Hampton Inn receipts. I know you weren't in Cleveland. I know you told him you love him. And I know you think I'm too meticulous to handle this." I stood up. I felt 10 feet tall. "You have 2 hours to pack a bag. The kids are at my mother's. Richard is waiting for your lawyer's call. Don't touch the silver. Don't touch the dog." "Daniel, please. It was a mistake." "A mistake is forgetting to buy milk," I said, walking toward the stairs. 47 condoms is a lifestyle. You're done." The divorce took 4 months. It was ugly, just like Richard promised. But data doesn't lie, and judges love data. I kept the house. I kept primary custody. Trevor, as it turns out, wasn't interested in a woman with a divorce settlement and 2 kids. He dumped her 3 weeks after she moved into her studio apartment downtown. A year has passed. I'm sitting in my kitchen now. The house is quiet. Emma and Noah are upstairs sleeping. Maria still comes on Tuesdays and Fridays. We don't talk about that bag anymore. But sometimes she'll put a hand on my shoulder and say, "You're a good father, Mr. Harrison." I still think about those 47 wrappers. Not with pain, but with gratitude. They were the glitch in the system that allowed me to see the truth. Because the truth doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It just sits there, hidden under the bed, waiting for someone to move the dust ruffle. If this story hit home, if you've ever found a truth that destroyed your world, comment, "I see it," below. And if you want to hear more stories about the moments that change everything, hit subscribe. My name is Daniel Harrison. I'm a software engineer, and I finally have a life that's built on facts, not fiction.